Hello.
After all the struggle, finally able to see you.
Yeah. How are you, Paridhi? Welcome to my
I-
podcast.
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Some people are joining. We can start. We have already, uh, yeah,
Struggled with Instagram for last 15 minutes.
true. Okay, let's start. First, I want you to give your background introduction. Then we will go into the yoga part of your life.
Okay. All right. So I was not initially like starting from a yoga background, just to give you a little context. I started I graduated from IIT Jodhpur, did my engineering from computer science background in year 2020, and actually my journey started somewhere from the college itself. So I actually went to Kota for getting into IIT and all that exam and all that pressure. During that duration, I developed like habits, like very sedentary lifestyle that, we used to sit for 17, 15, 12 hours and just study. And because of that, I gained weight, like not bad or good. But for me, that was something in college at the end of 4 years, that was a trigger point for me that I need to do something with my body. My father always used to tell me that even when I was in Kota, that do some Surya Namaskar, it will help you with your health and everything in a general health. But then at certain threshold in my final year, I started with like basic cardio exercises in college itself, and but during COVID, it was like at the time when all the people were getting out of fitness, that was sort of a trigger point for me that I got into fitness. And initially I started learning yoga through online sources, YouTube channels and all of it. So that's how I started, and slowly I started enjoying that. Earlier, before even starting, I used to think, that it's a very slow process. But then, as and when I started practicing, I used to enjoy it a lot. And that led me into a teacher training course for which I went to Rishikesh. And then, like, now I am teaching yoga as well as pursuing my software job along with it.
Okay, amazing. And when you started this yoga teaching course that you said, because initially you started with online courses, right? Like YouTube videos during COVID.
Yeah.
So how long that phase lasted, and when you decided that you want to do it, you want to make it a part of your life?
So actually, for 8 to 9 months, it was my self practice from YouTube. I was learning some or the other thing, but then I realized that something was missing out of it. I was going like in random direction. So that's when I realized that I need a proper structure or a proper training. So after 8 9 months in year 2021. I went for teacher training course in Rishikesh, and did like a 1 month long teacher training course that is part of there. And then after that, I've been continuing practicing yoga with some other teacher. Sometimes I do my own self practice, and that continues for long.
Okay. Okay. And yoga or any kind of mindfulness practice is kind of intimidating for people who have never done it. So, what are the misconceptions that you had when you started? Or because that was the time when you started for the first time, if I'm not wrong, right?
So what I feel is, for me particularly, that barrier was that I wanted to lose weight, and for that, I like that was my initial setting in my mind. But and for the same reason, I thought that yoga would not help with it. Like that was the very initial mindset. But then slowly I realized that when I'm practicing yoga, that can like both the things. First is, if you want to make your practice very slow, that is also possible. If you want to take it a level higher, that is also possible. But it is only later, after year or 2 years of practicing, I started to realize that it's not just about if I'm doing some very intense exercise or uh, like very low level, that is not the sole purpose of yoga. I noticed that like I was being little more mindful about for example, the things I was eating, or what is going on my mind, or like very small things that happens that had enabled me to become little better. And that was because I had been practicing yoga, is what I have felt like. Nobody can say for sure that okay, this is the reason led, but something you are led into. But what I strongly feel is because I had been practicing yoga, uh, with many of the situations I was able to deal much better. Yeah, that's about it.
You are talking about mental clarity as well,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes, and
And
yeah.
yeah,
Just one more point. So, just a very simple example, because something I can relate to work being a software developer. So, for the entire day in my 9 to 5 kind of a job, I used to code, and in the night, sometimes I used to go into bed thinking of about the code, that okay, I'm debugging something, something or the other went on my mind. But then, with consistent practice, first, like initial phase was that, that 1 hour of practice in the morning was a break point rather than sleep. Even in sleep, I was having those continuous thoughts, but only while I was moving in the morning. That 1 hour gave me that space that, I am shut off from the other thoughts that I am having, and I was able to live in the present moment when I was doing yoga. So that was something that was truly amazing, and maybe people do not talk about the small things, but and like yoga is thought of as some liberation or something, but for me that was a very critical changing moment, that I was able to be there for myself for 1 hour, and that gave me energy for rest of the day.
right, amazing. And people have this concept that if you want to lose weight, then yoga is not something you will go, right? Like people prefer to go to gym probably to have a faster result, right? So
Yeah.
would you like to give like how you lose weight also, if you want to um, describe that phase to
uh,
inspire the
yeah.
audience?
So, initially, like as I said, I used to feel that yoga had very slower results. So, actually, when I started my weight loss journey, it was mostly cardio-based exercises, because that was the lockdown period. So, I could not step into the gym anyway. So, I actually started out with cardio exercises, not much of a strength training, majorly cardio and HIIT based exercises that also helped me lose weight. That was like a quick result. So just for my numbers, in 4 months of time, I was being consistent, and I was able to lose approximately 10 to 11 kgs. But what I realized, that is also helpful. So if you're looking for faster results, cardio combined with yoga would deliver best results. But what I realized over this years, I was able to be in my fittest self because I had been practicing yoga. One thing is that it is accessible any place. Like you don't have to go to the gym. You can just lay your mat down for 15 minutes, half an hour, and be there. Like that is a complete movement in itself, be it some part of a cardio effects or strength training based effects. Other than that, if you are attracting something, so the things around it also gets attracted. For example, I practiced yoga, so I attract people around me, or the feed that come into me suggests me, and like the ways on those terms your behavior also gets changed and updated, that I'll adapt to better lifestyle, I'll adapt to better eating habits, or maybe simple practice like moving mindfully, or maybe having some kind of movement throughout the day. So that also is something that yoga brings in. But like just to summarize it all, if I would have to say, uh, cardio strength training definitely gives you quicker results, but if you want to sustain it in your initial phase, do cardio strength training also, but also start combining yoga so that you can take it for longer period of your life, like not just 1 year or 2 year. It's like a journey in itself.
Right. Okay. And can you tell about your daily yoga routine? How you start and how long do you do? Because in this busy lifestyle, people hardly get time, right? And that too, if you tell someone for 1 hour, people will be scared of that,
That
right?
is
So
difficult.
how did you start it and how it is going?
Okay. Honestly, if I tell you at this moment, if I tell you it's not going that great, but that's what keeps me motivating, that I can, even if I lie down my mat for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I still have something. So there had been times where I practiced 1 hour long. So that's been there. At this moment, even if I get like half an hour, I am good with it. But what keeps on, like what stays on the back of my mind is that I have to continue this, to be little more consistent on this, not to stop it. Even if there are, like, down phases that you're not able to do it sometimes, maybe on those times be more mindful of what you are eating, or be more mindful of your daily movements, like movement throughout the day. So at this point of time, if I would have to say, even if I'm able to take half an hour, that goes well with me. And I try to kick in little more of a physical work in the classes that I teach. So that is definitely a push, along like a positive push, that that keeps me motivating, that I will continue to do it and take it forward.
Right. Okay. And what are the challenges that you faced? Now you are like good, right? You are mentoring people. But initial days, what kind of struggle that you faced when you started?
So if I talk in terms of, so actually, I would not say initial days. I would tell you like general challenges that face, very similar onto the lines that I just talk about, is being consistent. So I take it on me that I have to take back, and from this podcast, I'll be a little more consistent again. So actually, being consistent is the biggest challenge. Maybe, for me, what has helped in the past, and then again I'm taking this back and I'll surely gonna do it, is if I do it regularly under the supervision of a teacher, that had pushed me a little bit towards making it a regular practice. But the number one challenge definitely had been consistency. I know, like, some of the people that I mentored with, like the basic challenges that they face initial is to that come up to 10 classes, like first 10 classes. So if they are able to come up for first 10 classes, then that threshold crosses. After that, people might start enjoying it. But that,
Right.
for a lot of people, that initial challenges to just start that process, because from the far it looks very difficult sometimes to some of the people, that how do I start? There are n number of things available online, available offline. Like,
Right.
in all of that, your mind revolves and get disturbed.
Right. But I feel that until and unless you do something in an organized way, all these Instagram reels and social media tips will not help at all.
Of course,
Right.
of
Yeah,
course.
in any
True.
field. So, and also one thing that when someone get inspired to start doing yoga or going to gym, we usually feel that okay, we should look up to that celebrity who is doing that, right? But in reality, our lifestyle is completely different. We need food or environment or anything, so we kind of get demotivated when we do not see the result. So I believe that it is important to look up to people who have kind of similar lifestyle
Correct.
up to some extent, right? And knowing their journey is important, and that is the
Right.
purpose of calling you today. And okay, let me ask you this question. Um, as a yoga instructor, what kind of difficulties your student face? What you said, your time consistent. Is it that only one, or in terms of different poses or something? What do you suggest? And
So I
yeah,
would
that
tell
is my
about
question.
some of the difficulties that my students, as well as, like, for me, the, like, honestly, if I tell you, it's little innate for me that, I'll start practicing something or some or the other day. So, but that actually varies very much from person to person. I might be very much, I might not like to start something else, but yoga has been little like, it comes from within. But I do understand that for a lot of people, it might not be the case. So, what from my observations is what I have seen is from for people, that initial barrier is to, as I said earlier, like that's the biggest thing that I have seen is to being continue for some of the days. Like if that journey starts and they start to feel like better, let's say after 5 to 10 classes or 5 to 10 self practice sessions, whatever be it, they start to feel those differences, and that itself pushes them to continue forward. Now there might be priorities that, some people might have, like maybe health is at their topmost priority or not. Being said that, if health is their topmost priority, consistency is something that they still might, like they still face challenge with. And yeah, I think like I have focused enough on that. But what had helped me also is, if I step on the mat for like 10 minutes, then it becomes a lot easier. So daily, if I keep just that in mind, that I just have to go onto the mat for 10 minutes, then spending those half an hour or sometimes maybe 1 hour becomes very easy. So those first 10 minutes are the crucial part. You get into that environment, dedicate a specific spot. Like maybe if your house is not that big, just dedicate a specific corner in your house that you are transitioning from some work that you are currently doing to a place where you have specified that I would be practicing yoga. Just go there, just sit there for 5 minutes. You, from within, it might come up that let's practice it for 10 minutes, or let's do some exercise for 10 minutes. So that had helped me as well as some of my students also immensely, in coming up to the classes and continuing with their practice.
Right. If I talk about myself, I also have been practicing from my BTech days. In
Yeah.
childhood, I used to do because my mom used to like, okay, you do. Then I kind of do, but that time you do not understand, right? What is yoga and all. And from BTech, I have been doing it. And the days when I do not feel like doing, I just sit on my mat and I tell my brain, okay, I have done my session, and I just get up. I don't know how it helps. Probably I'm just telling my mind that, okay, I have done it. And I feel like, okay, I'm good now.
Okay, just one more tip actually that had helped me in some different aspects is, I like to keep, on a page, like on a physical notebook, that these are my 15 days. And I like to, like from a pen, I like to keep a tick or a cross. So even if you're not able to do it daily, but if you have that in mind, that if you're physically seeing that, okay, I have done for this many days, maybe just 8 to 9 days out of 15 days, that also is a pushing factor that it helps you that maybe next time I will increase the number of ticks that I have done, that today I have done practice, next day I have done practice or not.
Right. I also follow this when you put this intake of water doing
Yeah,
yoga,
yeah.
I love doing that. Even some days if I don't do, I just cheat myself and put that, okay, I did it and I feel good. Probably
Yeah.
tricking my hormone to make me feel better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That actually, this works on a lot of different areas. Yoga or your exercise is just one part of it.
Okay. And also tell about your work life also, how yoga made you be more productive, right? We know that it make you productive, but how you can you tell some incident where you feel that, okay, I do yoga because of that. I'm able to see this one instead of maybe doing the same work another way. A real life example.
I doubt I would have like a very specific instance, but like little something that I've already spoken, just taking it back again. So that is something that actually helps throughout the day. Okay.
Right.
So even if, like, let's say you are doing some work for 15 straight hours, let's assume that. after that, if let's say you're sleeping, and even after that your mind is thinking the same thing that you're thinking, and you're not taking a pause. Okay, taking a pause had helped me a lot. Like, I was mentioning earlier, right, that even after sleeping my mind did not shut down. So there were days when I was not practicing yoga. The next day itself, those similar problems that I was facing earlier day, they do not usually get solved easily. But if
Mhm.
you take your mind out of it for some time, let's say I'm working on some problem statement today, tomorrow again with the same mindset, I am having that same problem, I have not paused my mind, I have not shut down my mind, I'll think of in the same approach. But with yoga coming in, might be different for different people. For me personally, um I did yoga practice on the mornings. That has happened like a lot of times. I did my yoga practice in the morning, and then during the day I started to think in newer ways, that if I deal with this particular problem not from this direction, rather go in this direction, that taking that pause had helped me to solve a lot of issues. And like, this was a 1 hour practice, but even that is not necessary. Sometimes in office, there is there might have been a smaller problem. um,
Right.
if I go for a walk, that is like, I would not just say that that is a walk. When you go out for a walk, keep your phones away and just rest there, take a pause in there. Then also that had helped me to think of the same problems in a different way, and that had
Right.
actually helped me solve some of the problems.
Okay. Do you have any favorite yoga pose?
Pose is definitely headstand or Shirshasana for me, and I love Chakrasana as well. Um, so, uh, two reasons actually. It feels really good, like your blood is circulating from up to down. That also feels
Right.
really good. And in your headstand or Shirshasana. And the second thing is, with a lot of difficulties, I learned that. So for me, that was a mini token of appreciation for myself, that, I have finally learned that.
Right.
So two reasons I love Shirshasana.
And how long you took to do your first Shirshasana without support?
Maybe 8 months, approximately 7, 8 months.
Okay, like continuous practicing.
But like, those 7, 8 months were so consistent. Like, I used to do every single day, like not even Sundays I would wait. I used to do every single day.
Right. And in yoga, you don't need to take break, right? Like
Yeah,
the way people take gym
yeah.
break, you don't need that, right?
So in gym, like, people say that there is one rest day that is needed,
Right.
but in yoga, actually, you're not breaking muscles internally. Like, in gym philosophy, it is that you overtrain sometimes your muscles to break those, and then repair it, and then those muscles grow. But yoga works on your body on a holistic level. So you don't need to stop on any of the day. It's just that, let's say, some of the day you're not feeling to do some very intense thing. Just take it little slow. Just do some very slow paced movement, or just do couple of pranayams. That's it. Like, you
Right.
don't have to take pause on any day.
Right. And as we are coming to the end, so what advice would you give to someone who is planning to start?
I would say, keep your mind a little open. Okay. I am being a yoga teacher itself. I am telling that it is not very necessary that you just stick to yoga. Okay. Yoga definitely is one part of it that would keep your journey very long lasting. But do not be very much, that I have to reach certain pose, or I have, that would definitely come your way if that is something that you wish. But just try to be consistent, and maybe along with yoga, if you're enjoying something more, for example, cardio or weight training, then make yoga part of it. You don't have to stick to just one form of movement or one form of exercise because you have heard people say that this is the best thing. It's not like that. whatever you are enjoying, whatever movement you are enjoying, at least like let's try to make that consistent, and then that would help you rather than keeping that little conservative mind sort of a thing, that you are just sticking to some idea or the some notion that you have in your mind.
Right. And I agree. Like yoga is not about shaping your body, but rather it will shape your lifestyle. Right.
Correct, correct, correct. That's like a actually summary of this entire conversation. So yoga is not just about the poses or you do, even if you're not like doing physical yoga asana practice, and during the day, if you are being more mindful or more cognizant of what you are doing, what you are eating, what your thoughts are, then also like yoga as a lifestyle is something that you are leading.
Right. And that perfect body is a byproduct if you do it for long term, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a byproduct,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay. So we will conclude the session here. Thank you, Paridhi, so much for joining me and sharing your journey. I wish you all the best in all your endeavors. Thank you so much. And whoever have joined, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tasreen, for having me. It had been wonderful time with you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye.